for a dishy VH1 interview.
Are you asking me out? Am I making a pass at you?
They talked about everything, from the revelation that sparked her new album, American Life.
I looked back at the 20 years behind me, and I found myself in a place where, in the conventional sense, I'd achieved so many things, and I realized that a lot of the things that I valued weren't important.
To raising kids.
My daughter's very emotional, and I see her acting out, and I find myself getting really frustrated with her, and I'm like, oh my God, what a drama queen.
To the ever-changing Madonna image.
A lot of what I was doing at the time was very ego-driven, and I was trying to shock people.
As well as her controversial war-themed video, American Life.
Why is everybody getting their knickers in a twist over this?
I'd like to express my extreme point of view. I'm not a Christian and I'm not a Jew. I'm just living out the American dream, and I just realized that nothing is what it's you.
I think in a way it does the video disservice to try to explain exactly what I'm saying.
But since that sit-down, Madonna's world has changed a lot. The U.S. invaded Iraq, and Madonna did something she's never done in her 20-year career. Back down and pull the video before it ever aired.
Madonna has sounded the retreat on the release of her upcoming video, all out of sensitivity because of the war.
Coming up, Madonna talks for the first time about that difficult decision.
Anybody who has anything to say against the war or against, the president or whatever is punished.
And later, the complete sit-down with Megan Mullally.
Best not to do interviews when you're grouchy.
You're not going to leave right now, are you? Okay.
Next, on Madonna Speaks. From the burning crosses of Like a Prayer to the sexual escapades of Justify My Love, Madonna has always pushed the envelope. Her video, American Life, was going to be no different.
Do I have to change my name? Will it get me far? Should I lose some weight? Am I gonna be a star?
Originally, I made the video because I felt the threat of war looming over us, and in my heart of hearts, I wanted to do anything I could to stop it from happening.
American life, American life, I live the American dream, American.
I'm agreeing with everybody. Saddam Hussein is a bad guy, okay? But to somehow resolve the conflict without a lot of pain and suffering of innocent people was that's my dream and my goal, and I wanted to make a video that was going to wake people up and say, hey, stop being distracted by, all of your entertainments, TV, fashion shows, the superficial life. There's a real war going on here, or about to go on here, and we have to do whatever we can to stop it.
I have to change my name. Will it get me far? Should I lose some weight? Am I gonna be a star?
Details about the video leaked out, causing people to question Madonna's message.
It's like this lynch mob mentality has kind of risen up, and suddenly I was making this video that was horrible and full of horrible things, and it was terribly irresponsible. Meanwhile, nobody saw it, and nobody, knew what they were talking about.
Rumors about the video focused on one image in particular.
At the end of the video, there's a hand grenade that I throw, and it goes sailing through the air, and a hand grenade is the symbol of destruction and violence, and George Bush catches it and lights his cigar with it, and so it turns out it's not a hand grenade after all, it's just a lighter. And so that was my kind of wishful thinking, symbolically, that we could find a different way to deal with our conflicts with Iraq.
I'd like to express my extreme point of view. I'm not a Christian and I'm not a Jew. I'm just living out the American dream, and I just realized that nothing is what it's you.
With U.S. and British troops on the ground in Iraq, even Madonna felt she couldn't release the American Life video.
By the time it was finished, we were at war, and it just seemed like, it was just bad timing, and it seemed like no matter how much money I spent on it and how beautiful a video I thought it was artistically. It just wasn't the right time for it to come out.
Madonna produced a new video for the song, but she wasn't through talking about the issue.
You know, it's ironic that we're fighting for democracy in Iraq because we ultimately aren't celebrating democracy here, because anybody who has anything to say against the war or against, you know, the president or whatever is punished, and that's not democracy. It's people being intolerant.
There was also a very personal side to her decision.
My daughter goes to school. She walks down the street. My husband is a filmmaker and you know, in the entertainment business, and I don't want to compromise them in any way, shape, or form.
This is the American life.
Coming up, Megan Mullaley's interview with Madonna.
I felt like I was back in college last night is all I want to say.
You've done your homework.
From the lessons of fame
The only thing that's really going to make you happy is the state of your soul, the way that you treat people, the love that you have in your heart.
to the joys of motherhood.
I find that my children help me see myself and my own weaknesses and shortcomings.
To visions of the future.
Fat rolls and wrinkles. Right on.
When Madonna Speaks returns.
Hi, I'm Megan Mullally, and I'm sitting here with the lovely Madonna. My little stack of research.
Your
I felt like
pile of
I was
research.
back in college last night is all I want
You've
to say.
done your homework.
Yeah. So you very kindly agreed to do an episode of Will and Grace. Did you have fun?
Thank you. I had such a good time. I loved it.
Would you like to explain the premise for Shall I?
Yes, I interview you to be my roommate, and basically the entire skit is about you and I kind of rubbing each other the wrong way.
Well, it was fun though.
It was great.
It'll be
I
fun.
loved it. I liked all the writers. 5 people run in, do a huddle, come change your line, and you just have that freshness and
people
you don't have time
who
to think
really
about it.
and people who that was my dog. And people who really know what they're doing. I know, it's so disappointing.
And the other thing I want to say is that her dog had to be on the set all the time. She kept going over and like changing his diapers and
My
feeding
dog.
him stuff. I mean, he's like a bit weird.
Please.
I didn't even bring my kids on the
You're
set.
hurting me. My poor dog had to have an operation. She's been in a delicate condition. But she's doing better. Except
Haven't
for
we
just
all?
now, apparently. Yes. Why isn't there somebody changing our diapers is what I'd like to know.
Why can't someone cart us around in little cages? My personal life reflects itself in my music. That's what inspires me. The whole reason I got into the music business wasn't because I thought I had a spectacular voice. It's because I had something to say. Never did I write a song and say, oh God, this is too risky or this is too pop. It's just, is this what I want to do? I love the way this sounds. Is this where I am right now? I don't want to just keep doing the same thing and saying the same thing. It requires a lot of faith to just go forward and do things and to listen to your heart, regardless of what people are saying about you.
Okay, let's get on to more important things right now, which is your new album. I still call it an album because I'm very old. Well, oh no, okay, well, that's not true. We're the same
Thanks
age.
a lot.
Now, oddly enough, one of us has managed to stay in a teeny weeny bit shape than the other one of us. I'll leave that to the audience to discern. It's very hard to tell. But you have this great album, which I was loaned under penalty of death should I ever let anybody else hear any of it. And it's really fantastic.
Thank you.
Tell me how you were feeling, where you were coming from when you were putting the record together.
Basically, American Life is, I start the record off with that song, and it's the first single that I'm releasing because I feel like in one fell swoop it describes my state of mind when I was writing the record, which is I looked back at the 20 years behind me and I found myself in a place where, you know, in the conventional sense I'd achieved so many things in terms of my career and my place in the world and what people think of me, and I'm very successful. I have lots of material things. And I realized that a lot of the things that I'd valued weren't important. So that's really what I mean when I say at the end of the rap, you know, I have all of these things. I've got a lawyer and a manager, an agent and a chef, 3 nannies, an assistant and a driver and a jet. But do you think I'm satisfied? Do you think that all of those things are making me happy? No. And, you know, the only thing that's really going to make you happy is the state of your soul, the way that you treat people, the love that you have in your heart. And I know that sounds really corny, but it's the truth. And nobody tells you that.
A lot of people have a false impression that if you're famous, you're going to feel this incredible sense of fulfillment and you're going to be truly loved and truly happy.
Thank you.
But there's a whole lot of other stuff that comes with being famous. You belong to the public.
People think they know
People
you.
write about you and never imagine that you actually have feelings that they could be hurting.
People stop thinking of you as a human being.
There's more to life than being successful. Fame is a result, it's not a goal.
To become well known when you're young is rough.
Yeah.
But then to have to go through all of the changes that a person goes through in their life and the learning and the growing, but in such a public format, must have been so difficult, and yet you've turned it toward the positive.
I see how far I've come. It's not like I'm ashamed of who I was 10 years ago, but I just realized that I was going through life in a kind of willy-nilly way, and I was just kind of, in a way, slashing and burning. And sometimes you have to do that, to let go of your past. And I was angry about the way people perceived me. People would have these ideas that if you were perceived as being sexual, then you couldn't be intelligent, and, you know, so I was in this very kind of angry and provocative mood, and a lot of what I was doing at the time was very ego-driven, and I was trying to shock people. You know, I'm not sure if it was an altruistic reason, you know what I mean? Looking back on it, at the time, I felt very self-important, you know?
But you're going through that, just like anyone would,
Yeah.
but you're going through it, and everybody's watching.
Yeah. At the end of the day, everyone changes and everyone grows, but if your changes and your growth are always documented, and you always have to comment on them or explain them, and of course, something you said and believed in a couple of years ago is going to change for a lot of people. But then if you say that, they'll say, but you said that before, and I'm constantly being held accountable for everything. And I mean, I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but, you know, it's been an incredible ride, adventure, test, whatever you want to call it, to go through all of it and still see the beauty and purity of life, and still have a kind of innocent outlook and not lose my own curiosity and sense of adventure.
Coming up, Madonna on her little mini-me.
I see my daughter being, you know, reacting to things, and I get kind of anxiety-ridden watching her do it, and then I go, my God, that's me.
And why it can be lonely at the top.
You have friends.
I don't. I really have no friends.
You have no friends.
When Madonna speaks,
You have always had a lot of songs that were about, you know, love being the most important thing,
Yep.
and even when you were unhappy, or now you've been able to sort of, you know, turn that into something that is like the glass is more half full. You know?
I've tried. I mean, I've had my dark moments, that's for sure.
I've always sort of carried this feeling through my whole life that I missed something incredibly important.
When you grow up without a mother, you have a real unfulfilled need inside of yourself, and you are on a mad search for love, unconditional love.
Giving birth was a healing experience. It made me look at life in a completely new way, and it made me appreciate life in a way that I don't think I ever had before. I realized that my life was never going to be the same.
I would think that having children would certainly, I don't have children myself, so...
You better get busy, girl.
Well, that's the dog. I got the dog. I'm working on the children. How has that contributed to this?
My growth? Hugely, enormously. Being in the entertainment business, you have a tendency, we all do, to become incredibly self-obsessed, even if we have relationships, you know. You spend your entire day kind of preparing yourself. If you're like a person who lives in front of the camera, you know, there's the exercising, there's the clothes, there's the, you know, the hair and the nails and the skin, and there's the you know, it just goes on and on and on. And you have children, and there's no, like, the time to do all those things gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And in a way, I mean, it's the best thing that could happen, to, like, throw everything in perspective. I can't remember.
Take you out of yourself.
Yeah. And then the other thing is I find that my children help me see myself and my own weaknesses and shortcomings. because I see my daughter being, reacting to things, and I get kind of anxiety-ridden watching her do it, and then I go, my God, that's me. So it's kind of like a mirror thing that happens, and then it's a good way to correct yourself, because your children really are mirrors of you. They're sparks of your soul, and so when you learn to embrace your children for all of their shortcomings, in a way, you're doing that to yourself.
Is there anything in particular about your son that makes you see yourself like that?
My daughter's very emotional, and I find myself getting really frustrated with her, and I'm like, oh my God, what a drama queen. And I'm like, okay. What? And then I see my son, and who's like a clown, and he's funny. He's got this really irreverent, kind of cheeky sense of humor, and he's that side, I see myself in that aspect of his personality, and it's great having the two.
The balance.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're in a good relationship, happy in your
Thank
marriage.
God. Yeah.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are there things that you see in Guy that you see in
I need
yourself?
to fix in myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in a way, that's how you kind of know you're in the right relationship, when you feel a deep connection to somebody, but then there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and just the growth that our relationship has undergone in the last 4 years has been amazing.
And it's so cool that you have such a great creative kind of affinity with each other, and you can work together, and there's that thread.
And I totally respect and admire his opinions on everything. I mean, I wouldn't finish a song without him hearing it, or all my work, I show to him, and I want his input.
Every one of us came to this earth for a purpose. We all have a destiny to fulfill. For a while, I was wallowing in a world of confusion. I started asking myself so many questions. What's important in life? What really matters in life? Why am I here?
The more in touch you get with the spiritual side of yourself, the less afraid you become of anything. It is about looking beneath the surface and taking responsibility for everything that you do. If I've been enlightened, and I truly feel like I've been enlightened, then it's my responsibility to share what I know with other people.
Tell me about I'm sure I know how busy you are, but you have friends.
I don't. I really have no friends.
You have no friends. Got me. I'm sorry. How do you fit your friends in? I mean, I even find it difficult, and I'm about 1/1000th as busy as you.
Yeah, well, it's hard. I must say I don't have as much time for a lot of my friends as I used to. And we end up talking on the phone and emailing each other more than seeing each other these days, it seems. But I do have a handful of really good friends, and I'm very, very grateful for them.
Are they mostly people that you've known for a long time, or kind of half and half?
Yeah, I mean, I have a kind of family around me that's been working with me for years, and they've become my really good friends. Mm-hmm. I consider, my manager to be one of my best friends. She's known me for 15 years, so. And my sister is an excellent friend of mine. Obviously she's known me for ages. So, I mean, I tend to like to keep people around me that I've known for a long time. There's, I have lots of surrogate mothers, and I'm very lucky to have that, I don't have a lot of friends, but I have some very good ones. We are zooming forward, but that is what's happening to civilization.
Nothing takes the past away like the future.
Everything I did led me up to this moment. So if I would have changed other things, I wouldn't be here.
I still love everything I do. If I don't love it, I'm not doing it. I have such a long journey ahead of me. And where it goes, I don't know.
I wanted to ask you, since you are the mother of reinvention, if you would ever consider someday actually, becoming like one of your reinventions becoming a beautiful older woman and having like a wrinkle and a gray hair.
I'm pretty sure I already have a few wrinkles and gray hair, so just don't zoom in too close, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's the direction I'm going in, and,
That's what it seems to me, and
Yeah.
I think that would be very exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Fat rolls and wrinkles. Right on.
It's the new rage.
Give us a kiss, love. Mwah.
That was lovely.
Mwah.
And I gotta be a star. Missy and Madonna, boy, ain't nothing better. Hotter than fat, lifted dancing in a sweater. Madonna, am I okay? Skinny, you're better when I rap with a check. All I smell is cheddar.
I
Tried to be a boy, I tried to be a girl, I tried to be a man, I tried to be the best. I guess I did it wrong, that's why I wrote this song. This type of modern life, is it for me?